Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mack Story.
Thanks for stopping by the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. Today we're on chapter 27 of 30 as we get close to wrapping up my 30-part series on blue collar leadership and supervision, Unleash Your Team's Potential. And again, that's my book written for the formal authority leader at any level. That could be a team leader leading a small group, or that could be a CEO, because I'm telling you, there's some high-level CEOs, they don't know what's in this little book. And I'm telling you, if you read and study and digest what's in this book, you're going to be so far ahead of most people who are in a formal authority position, because most of them, they don't do this stuff. They lead from position, authority, and title. They take the easy way out, the shortcut. And they also get shortcut results, which is not very good. So I'm proud of you for listening today. I hope you've listened to this entire series. And remember, there's a companion series, starts at episode 65. It is Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. That's a book every leader needs to know, but it's also the book for growing and developing entry-level frontline team members. They're almost always overlooked. Only person who's not going to overlook developing the frontline people is a high-impact leader. That's what I'm trying to help you with in this book, trying to take you down that path. Chapter 27 today is titled, A Bigger Sacrifice. A Bigger Sacrifice. The subtitle, Will You Choose to Lead at a Higher Level? I'm assuming yes if you're listening to this. Definitely if you've been listening to the previous episodes. But will you choose to lead at a higher level? Listening to this is a lot different than actually doing this. I'm going to share a quote with you from Helen Keller, because what we're talking about is character development at every level. That's what leadership development is character development. Leadership development equals character development. Character development equals leadership development. Personal development is the foundation for leadership development. So leading myself well is the foundation for leading others well. So Helen Keller said this, character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. What she's saying is, when she says character cannot be developed in ease and quiet, that means, it really means, in my words, we got to do it out in the open. We got to get out in the open, stumble around, sometimes flop around like a fish out of water as we're trying to figure out how to get better. And when we haven't actually done it, because a lot of times we'll read something in a book, or you may hear me say something, and you go try it, and it doesn't work. You think, oh, that didn't work. Well, the reason why that didn't work is you may have needed 15 other things to go with it that you don't actually know. What you figured out, if you're really trying to get better, is it didn't work. Why didn't it work? What was different? Because, see, every situation is different. There may be one principle, and you go try to apply that principle in 10 different situations. That one principle may require a different set of principles to support it in every situation. There's thousands and thousands of principles relative to influence. People have different values, different experiences, different dreams, different goals. They had a different night last night at home with their family than they did the day before. Things are constantly changing. That's why we have to make a bigger sacrifice and choose to lead at a higher level. We have to get better endlessly, continuously, relentlessly as leaders. So how much are you willing to sacrifice to get from where you are to where you want to be? The answer to that question will determine how far up the leadership mountain you will actually climb and how many, if any, you will help climb to the top. See, getting to the top of the leadership mountain, that's not the goal. It's the goal for you, but that's about success. But there's something far greater than success. Success is getting to the top of the mountain, and you absolutely need to learn to be successful. You need to get to the top of the mountain. But you also need to know there's something greater than the top of the mountain where success resides, and it's called significance. Significance is being able to get to the top of the mountain and then choosing to go down, sacrifice your time, your energy, your effort to help other people climb to the top. So significance is about helping other people become successful in hopes that they're going to choose to go back down the mountain and become significant. That's what I'm doing with you. I'm investing my time and energy recording these podcasts to help you climb higher up the mountain. And I don't know if you're going to go down and get other people and bring them back to where you've been able to climb, but I hope you do. But what I know is this: unless you can get to the top yourself, there's no way you can help someone else get to the top. So success is not a bad thing, but significance is a better thing. So the moment you're done sacrificing is the moment you're done climbing. You're either moving forward or backward. There's no such thing as sitting still in the leadership world. That's why, again, I read every day. I don't want to be moving backwards. I read every day, every single day. At the moment, I'm about halfway through reading Call Sign Chaos by General Jim Mad Dog Mattis. You may have heard of him. He was the Secretary of Defense for a little while, a couple of years, but he done amazing things in the Marine Corps. And reading his book, his story. I'm actually rereading also at the same time, I'm rereading The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey. And I read that a long time ago. That's my third favorite book. But I read my top 3, maybe my top 10 books, really. I read those books over and over and over time because I kind of feel like my top 10, as long as I know what's in them, and I still don't know everything because every time I read them, I learn something new because things have changed. But if I'm keep constantly steady learning what's in those books, learning different ways to apply the same principle, I'm constantly getting better. But I mix in new books all the time too because I get bored reading the same thing. And like this Call Sign Chaos book with General Mattis, I'm loving it because everything in it is completely new. But there's some stuff that's so good, I got to study it over and over and over because we're never going to be like so perfect. It's not like we read something and once we learn it and process it and digest it, and we agree that, hey, we like that. Doesn't mean we get it right every time because there's so many variables. So moving forward doesn't just naturally occur. You must be intentional. That's why I tell you on many episodes, that's why I read every day. That's why I'm telling you I read every day. I'm trying to stick it in your brain. I know a lot of stuff about leadership. Some people think I'm a guru, I'm a wizard, I'm an expert or whatever. I think I don't hardly know anything about leadership. And I know that's the truth. Regardless of what someone else thinks about me, I know the truth. The truth is, I hardly know anything about leadership. And if that's not the way you see yourself relative to leadership, you're seeing yourself wrong because we can learn every day for the rest of our lives and we still are not going to know a lot about leadership. Now, we may know a tremendous amount compared to other people who know nothing. I'm not judging and measuring myself against other people, though. I'm judging and measuring myself against my potential to learn how to lead better. I don't care what everybody else knows. Not relative to my growth. It's always, we could at any time in our life find somebody who's not doing as well as we are and say, oh, I'm better than them. I'm done. That's not what high impact leadership is about. High impact leadership is about looking in the mirror and comparing yourself to your potential. And if that doesn't humble you real quick, you need to wipe the fog off that mirror because you can't see clearly. Because none of us are ever living up to our potential. Because the more we develop ourselves, the more potential we have. It's like a never-ending growth cycle. There's always someone out there willing to pay the price when you won't. You got to know that. If you're no longer hungry for growth, you'll be easily passed by those who are. And it's not their fault they're passing you. Some degree it is, but not really. It's your fault. The problem is always in the mirror. That's what high impact leaders do. They look in the mirror. I hear people all the time who wish they had a better job. You may be one of them. Guess what? That job's out there. It's out there right now. Somebody's looking to fill it. Are you prepared to fill it? Have you done the work to get you from where you are to where you want to be? If not, expect to get passed by those who have. So sacrifice is giving up something of value today for something of greater value tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year. Sacrificing a day for a better future takes vision, desire, and this key word right here, discipline. Discipline. That's what separates exceptional people from average people. Discipline. Discipline to do what you know you must do. And relative to what I'm talking about leadership development, personal growth and development of self and others. So you must become disciplined at doing the things that will make you more valuable. If you want to become more successful, don't focus on becoming more successful. That's what most people do. Focus on becoming more valuable. Because when you become more valuable, you'll be perfectly aligned to become more successful. But when you focus on becoming more successful, it may not happen. That's why I'm going to say it again. I read every day. The more I learn, the more I know relative to what my mission in life is, leadership development of self and others. I become more valuable. The more I know about this stuff, the more valuable I am. If I'm somebody out there listening to me, if I'm a formal authority leader or I'm aspiring to be a leader, if I want to truly be a leader of people, the more I know, the more valuable I become. So you're doing it right now listening to this series. But discipline is the bridge between knowing and doing. You got to cross that bridge. To become more valuable and successful, you must cross this bridge daily. And I'm talking about the discipline bridge. Knowing what you should do and doing it can only be crossed by stepping onto that bridge called discipline and walking to the other side. So I want to share a quote with you here to wrap up today's episode. And it's from my wife, Rhea. And if you haven't been listening to Rhea or reading her books, she's got a ton of content out there. She's got a great podcast for women, and men listen to it as well, but her focus is leadership for women, but the principles apply to all of us. So I know there's a lot of men that listen to Rhea's podcast and read her books, and not all of her books are specifically for women. A few of them are, but she's also just got a new journal and planner kind of combination. She's releasing six different journal planner type books, and they're filled with 60 pages for 60 days. It's actually 120 pages, 2 per day, but there's a quote at the top, a motivational, inspirational quote, and then she's got some questions and reflections and that sort of thing. So if you want to truly get intentional about developing your mindset, you may want to go to rheastory.com and check out her journals and planners in the store there. But Rhea says this: a great leader must make the choice to put other people's needs in front of his or her own. That's what high impact leadership is all about. You know, I'm sitting here today. This episode come out on a Friday morning, 5 a.m. is when it releases on Anchor. I'm not sure what time it gets populated out to the other platforms, but that's when it's scheduled to come out. But I'm actually sitting here this morning recording it on a Saturday morning. Lots of other things I could be doing if I was worried purely about myself. But I'm recording podcasts this morning, multiple episodes to help others. I'm not getting paid to do it. Yes, it may lead to sales of my books, but I have no idea if that's going to happen. That's not why I'm doing it. I sell plenty of books. I get booked to speak plenty of places. I don't need a lot of money, not because I got a lot, but I don't want a lot of stuff. So because I don't want a lot of stuff, my life's good to go. I can do what I actually value, which is either writing more books, writing blogs and articles, recording podcasts, whatever. Last night, it happened to be, I spent 4 hours processing book orders, shipping books all across the United States and Canada for a leader. He doesn't even know I had to go through 4 hours of my time on a Friday night to do that. But it made it easy for them. Instead of sending them 400 books and then letting them mail them out to all of their locations across the United States and Canada, I said, send me the list. We can send them out, save you money and time. But I promise you, that leader probably didn't know that I actually took my personal time on a Friday night and spent 4 hours shipping these books all across the country, going in and creating individual orders from the printer to ship these things out. That's what I had to do but I didn't have to do it. I chose to do it. I wanted to do it. So when we talk about making a bigger sacrifice, I just want to share with you a few more of my books. As we start winding down this series, you may have gotten Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision and you've studied it. If you did, you can look in the back of that book and you'll see the other books that I have and Rhea has. But if you haven't read Blue Collar Leadership and Culture, the 5 components for building high-performance teams, you need to go digest that book. That is a roadmap. It's probably the next series I'm going to do on the podcast. I'll probably do some random podcast episodes in between before I start another series, because once I start the other series, I got 30 weeks of the next book, which will be Blue Collar Leadership and Culture without a doubt. I'm pretty sure that's the one. And so, but I'm going to do some random episodes on different topics before then. Another book you may want to check out of mine is The 10 Values of High Impact Leaders. And if you haven't read Defining Influence, that is actually my foundational book. That book is about 250 pages. It's not a 30 chapter, 3 pages per chapter book. It was actually my first book. And it's all about, it's really the foundational elements of everything to do with developing your character, influence, building trust, moving beyond manipulation, those sort of things. So if you haven't studied that one, that's a big one for you when we're talking about sacrifice and go to the next level. And if you truly need to transform yourself, especially at home, but just as a person in general, if you want to get serious about your character and really take your character, which will take your leadership to another level, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation is another book of mine. How to Become Your Best Self. So those are just 3 at the moment. One of those random episodes I may just talk about all of our books. Rhea and I have over 20 books published. So I may just do one episode where I just say, hey, these are our books and this is what they're about, kind of thing. But if you're a blue collar leader, make sure you go to bluecollarleadership.com, look at the programs tab, and there's a tab down there for all of the blue collar books and several of the other books that support the blue collar leadership program. I think there's about 8 listed there, and you can go dive into some content. It's what you have to do to get better. You got to sacrifice. You got to give up to go up. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mack Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mack's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.